this is about, you know, what a virtuous woman in the Hebrew Israelite culture is. And I'm going to start with Leviticus 19 and 29. I'm going to start with this law. Well, let me go ahead and read it. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. This encompasses a lot. This just does not just mean do not let your daughter stand out there on the street corner and sell her body to make some money. Okay? This means that. But it also means that a mother or father should not tell their daughter that they should get married to a guy, get with a guy because he has money. It's the same thing. We see it on TV now with TV shows like Basketball Wives. Everybody knows that they were basically jump offs. They got with those guys because those guys had money. And now here they are. Okay, that's as a matter of fact, that's a perfect example of what can happen when people prostitute their daughters. You have women who want to be like them. You have young women who grow up because they want to have fun. They get with the guy who has money because he can show them a good time, even though that's probably the guy they don't need to be with. And they put themselves in all kind of compromising situations being with a guy like that. And then as they get older, that's what they expect out of men. And some women, it never stops with them. You know, in order to get that phone bill paid or whatever, they will prostitute themselves with a friend of theirs. You know, of course, they don't call it prostitution, but we all know that that's what it is. And it's interesting because the scripture says, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. And this goes back into how important it is for sisters really to wait before they have sex, wait until they get married before they have sex. Because I mean, like I said in a previous video, you all really hold all the cards when it comes to this. You all have the power. And that's just the way it is. Because it doesn't say anywhere in here where a man could, you know, prostitute himself in the land, turn to whoredom. It's talking about sisters. And really a man who participates in that is a foolish man anyway, according to the scriptures. He's not a player. He's not a pimp, which are all actually against the law, at least the pimp part is. But no, he's a foolish man. But I'm going to start there. And then I'm going to go into scripture that you all know about. And it is Proverbs chapter 10 through 31. And a lot of people know that's the virtuous woman. And that's what it is. But I'm going to go a little bit more into detail. And I hope you get a little bit more out of this. Because again, this is Hebrew Israelite culture. This is what a woman is supposed to be aiming for. This is what the policies of the government should be in place to help a woman get to. Not to say every woman is going to be perfect in doing this. We all know that's not the case. But this is what she should be aiming for. This is her cultural goal, okay? And the goal of that nation. Of the nation. And that's Proverbs chapter 31. Verse 10 through 31. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to go verse by verse. And first I'm going to start with verse 10. It says, who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies. Okay, that means she's priceless. Okay. Verse 11. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. Now, that means she works. And as I read this, we're going to read where she works. So this is not the Protestant vision of what a woman is supposed to be, barefoot and pregnant. Some brothers think a woman is just supposed to sit at home and wait on them when they get home, hand and foot, and that's it. She's just supposed to, I guess, you know, watch TV, work out or whatever until he gets home, take care of him, and that's it. No, she's supposed to work, according to this. Verse 12, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Yeah. Obviously, like I said, this is something that the sisters are supposed to be aiming for. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Now, for those of you who don't know, wool is a very expensive material. Flax, you turn that into linen, which is also a very expensive material. So what you're talking about is very, very high quality fabrics. That's what you're talking about. Okay. And fabrics that last a long time as well. These wool and linen clothing can last hundreds of years, actually, as long as they're taken care of. Verse 14, she is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. I mean, she's cooking exotic foods. Okay, she has the spices, she has the exotic foods, the exotic spices. She knows how to get down in the kitchen. That's what that means. She riseth also, and this is verse 15. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. Now, this means she gets up early in the morning before the sun comes up. And I'm actually surprised by the number of sisters that I know that actually do that. But they usually do that and they go work out. I don't hear too many of them say that they get up before the sun comes up and they cook breakfast, or, you know, for their family, and get breakfast ready and get the lunch ready for their husband and things of that nature. Just saying. Verse 16. She considereth the field and buyeth it with the fruit of her hands. She planteth a vineyard. Now, I like that verse right there. Because what this means, what this is saying is, first of all, she's become an entrepreneur. Okay, like I said earlier, she's supposed to work, but she's become an entrepreneur. And what you need to pay attention to here is it says, with the fruit of her hands, she planteth a vineyard. Okay, that means with her profit. That doesn't mean that she's out there doing it herself. Okay, that means that she can have, like the scripture said earlier, she can have servants, she can have helpers. Okay, she can't have people that help her. She can't have employees. So now you have a woman who is an entrepreneur who can have employees. That sounds very different than what we're used to hearing as far as what a woman is supposed to be, especially if you grew up in Christianity. You didn't hear anything like this, you know. But again, this is talking about a woman from an Israelite culture, okay? Verse 17, she girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. Again, for those of you that don't know some of the metaphors in scripture, the arms is just like employees, people that work for you. That's what that could mean. Verse 18, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. So that means she's working. She's working until the sun goes down. You know, when the sun goes down, she's still up. She's still doing what she needs to do. She's putting in her work. Verse 19, she layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. For those of you that don't know what that is, you probably want to go look that up, a spindle and a distaff. She's making high quality clothes again, okay? She's not making cheap stuff here, okay? These are clothes that can last hundreds of years, okay? And this is what she's clothing herself and her family in. Verse 20, she stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. Let me get some water. But in other words, she gives charity. Verse 21, she is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. Now, a lot of people don't know what scarlet is. Again, you need to go look this up. It means it's I think it's thread that's been wrapped, I think 4 times. The average thread in our clothes is wrapped like twice. This one, because this is a thicker shirt, it may be wrapped 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times, but it means it's thick. And this is a thick shirt. So even though I'm in Atlanta now and it's kind of cool outside, I'm not very cool because this is a thick shirt. So that's what this is, okay? Her household, again, is in high quality clothing, okay? Verse 22, she maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. There we go again, high quality clothing. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. And they're looking at him and they're saying, man, obviously you got it going on. You know, your wife is handling business, and you're handling business too while you're sitting in the gates. Because what's important here, a lot of, and I'm going to talk about the role of men and how they're supposed to learn how to be the priests of their households in another video. But when you look at this sister and she's an entrepreneur, she's in agriculture, she's in clothing, okay? As a matter of fact, let me read that. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Okay, she's in agriculture. She's in the clothing industry. Okay, these now are trillion-dollar industries. A lot of people, when they read this, especially even in the Hebrew Israelite culture, they look at it as, you know, some sister out there with a hoe, you know, planting her garden when she's supposed to have employees. They're looking at a sister that just sits down and makes clothes, you know, and makes stuff on the side, you know, side money. No, this is not side money. This is her job. This ain't side money. Okay, she's she's supposed to be in what is now two separate trillion-dollar industries: agriculture and clothing or fashion. Now, what's interesting here is, well, what are the men supposed to be doing? They're supposed to be helping her open up new markets. They're supposed to be helping her not just open up new markets, but hold on to the markets that she's taken over with the merchants that she's working with. And there are many ways for the men of the nation to do that. And that's more like nation building 301 and 401. You know, how to deal with the competition that's out there, how to take markets from the competition that's out there, so these sisters can expand their market. But let me keep reading. Verse 25, strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. So that means she's working hard, she's staying honest, you know, and the rewards will come for that. You know, they will show. 26, she opened up her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Now this is interesting too, especially in 2013, because we hear so much about how sisters aren't as nice as they should be. And here a woman is, she's an entrepreneur, she's in industries that if we were doing this today, these are trillion-dollar industries. She has servants, she has helpers, right? She knows how to make her own clothes, right? She's dressed in the nicest of clothing, the highest quality clothing that you can get, right? And she's still nice. Verse 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. So again, she's continuously working, always working, staying busy. Verse 28. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. It speaks for itself. Verse 29. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. And that's more of a message to the brothers out there. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Verse 31, give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. So again, this goes back to give her the fruit of her hands. I mean, she makes whatever money she makes, she needs to get that money. It's just that simple. And she needs to go back out there and reinvest that money, right, in order for it to grow for her household. So, like I said, that's Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10 through 31. And I don't go into a lot of detail because, like I said, this is really Nation Building 101. And so, this is how the Israelite culture is supposed to be teaching our daughters how they are supposed to be acting, what our goals are for our daughters. You know, if we did have a nation, what type of programs would we have in place to do these things? Because if you read this, this is a woman who, if she's able to do these things, she has to be educated, she has to be trained, she has to have a certain level of maturity. Okay, all things that you really don't hear about, or you haven't heard about in the culture that we live in when it comes to the Bible and how women are supposed to be in the Bible. I didn't hear that growing up. I didn't hear that at all. But see, that's the difference between what some people believe and what Hebrew Israelites deal with, and what our culture is supposed to be focused on, and our women are supposed to be focused on. I didn't read anything in here where she's supposed to be barefoot and pregnant, and that's it. I didn't read it. If anybody in there can show it to me that is in here, you need to show it to me, as it relates to these laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments, and these proverbs, because I haven't been able to find it. So again, this gives you an idea of how we bring up princesses, because that's what we bring up. We don't bring up kings and queens. We bring up princes and princesses. This is a princess. This is the goal of a princess. You know, and let me say something else too here. In these industries, in the agricultural and the clothing industry, there are a lot of jobs that are available. There are millions of jobs in these industries. So that's interesting. I just started talking about jobs, and I brought it to 2013 too at the same time, which I do in all my videos for those people who say that these things are not applicable in 2013. Yes, they are. I hope you all got something out of this. I hope you all understand what our goal is supposed to be when it comes to our women, and the type of education and training they're supposed to be getting, and what their focus as sisters, what their focus should be on. Again, I talked about Claire Lyrics. That's ClairelyRics. Follow her. She does a lot of poetry. Follow me on Twitter, also at Old Testament Law. If you have any questions, hit me up at Old Testament Law at gmail.com. I hope y'all got something out of this. As I always say, if you are just trying to learn something about the law and you're taking notes and you're going to repeat this on a class that you teach on Sunday, that's fine. Just don't mess it up too bad. But those brothers and sisters out there that are Hebrew Israelites, my goal here, one of my main goals here, is to help you all to become nation builders. So like I said, I hope you all got something out of this, and shalom.